Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another webisode of the Funded Fast Chats. I am Rochelle Butler of the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization, SJV CEO for short. For this webisode, we are continuing our clean cooking campaign for the holidays, which is centered around induction cooking. Last month, we featured the Induction Cooktop Loaner program offered by PG&E. This month, we are focusing on the other half of our partnership, which is the Southern California Edison service territory. SoCal Edison offers the Induction Lending Program, and we are so lucky to have Andre Saldivar. He is the senior engineer who also works on the SCE Food Service Technology Center. Welcome to the Funded Fast Chats, Andre.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so glad you could make the time to. I know you're a very busy person, so I'm really happy to have you here with us. So, Andre, just to kind of give everybody an idea of what we're talking about here, would you mind giving us a high-level overview of the program?
Yes, so it's kind of a spin-off of our existing tool lending library program. We've had a tool lending library program for several years, and you can borrow a tool or multiple tools up to 14 days. And so we spun it off there. We've had clients come in or had questions and emails that, where can you buy one? Is there a place to try one, specifically for induction? And so we partnered with a lot of the manufacturers, and they were very excited. Yes, Andre, we can donate a unit or consign a unit or two. And so we kind of built up the inventory, and we launched it right before COVID. Um, and so we'll talk about the website. So it's my turn. It's became before COVID, and so everybody gets like, "Whoa, it's a little different." And so, yes, it's a great platform that we use. I kind of call it like an Amazon cart, right? You can be able to check uh, you pick your unit there and your accessories there. So, yeah, so it's a spinoff of our existing library. We call it the Induction Lending Program, or ILP. We continue to grow it. We continue to add accessories in different makes and models as the manufacturers bring out new models and stuff to the market. And so it's been successful. We launched it right before COVID. Had great uh, reception for it, and then COVID slowed it down, with people not being in the office and things like that. And so we had to work around it. We had to put our minds and said, how can we continue this program, because people are still asking for the units. So we during COVID, we actually did a lot of hand deliveries. We drove them to the site and drop off the units and stuff like that. And so uh and right now with the holidays, I think it's perfect time. Our reservations are up because of all the holiday cooking and going on, and so that's a little bit of the program.
So I am so happy to hear that you're getting a lot of engagement from customers. And so, I think the best advertising is word of mouth. So, as people are able to explain to their neighbors and their friends the experience that
Hmm.
they're having with the units will really help get this technology off the ground and more readily accepted by our residential customers. So, we are really excited about this program for a lot of different reasons. But I would like to talk just a little bit about like the why behind the program. So, Andre, can you kind of give us an idea, or in your words, like what is the overall goal of this program?
So with induction, it's been overseas. It's not new technology overseas in Europe and Asia. They use it rarely every day and all day, residential and commercial. And so bringing in the US, we my why is you really got to educate and demonstrate. You can't watch a video. You can, but you really don't get the effects of it or anything like that. So the why was really to educate and demonstrate, get this technology in front of the people somehow, some way, and let them touch, feel, cook, or whatever they wanted to do with it. um, and so that was the why behind it. Was with We did literature, we did videos, we did examples and stuff like that, and it just wasn't going anywhere. And so, you know, we looked at the tool lending library and saw some similarity with it, and was like, okay, we got to continue that, educate and demonstrate. And so by having a unit for our customers, they get both. They can educate themselves and they can demonstrate it to themselves as well. And so I think by having this program, that answered our why, is to really get this in front of them and demonstrate the technology and let them use it unbiased, let them, try and error or fail and execute whatever you want to call it. But it's, yeah, that is the why behind this program.
Awesome. So that's really innovative that Edison was able to sort of build this into their tool lending library, that infrastructure that they already have in place. And so I'll be sure to include some links to all of those sites so people can check them out below the video. Um, so I'm going to set you up here for a hypothetical, Andre. So in a
Okay.
perfect world, in a perfect world, everyone would be on board and no one would have any problems converting all of their kitchen appliances to electric, right? But we know that's not true. So, in your experience, your personal experience, what are some of the barriers that you've witnessed that people are having to making the conversion?
So a couple of them right off the bat, even before purchasing or even looking at the power requirements and all that, it's the cultural cooking and the background cooking. A lot of us have grown up on gas cooking, and so that's the negative or the barrier right off the bat. It doesn't do the same. It won't do the same. It can't do as much and stuff like that. So there's a lot of myths or barrier just around the cooking itself. The other barrier is knowing, the configuration, the power requirements. Andre, what does it require if I went from a drop, if I borrow a countertop, but now I'm ready to go forward, and do I drop in, or do I do a full range suite with the induction and the oven? And so, and where do I start? Where do I look? Who has them? What are the common sizes, right? 30 and 36. There's some odd ones out there for 24 now for the ADUs, and there's the larger ones at 48. And so it's great because the market's moving that way. And these sales shops and stuff and manufacturers are making more models and stuff like that. So some of the barriers are still the cooking, but I think that gets answered by them borrowing a unit. Um, and then the second barrier would be, do I do my panel upgrade? What is the power requirements and things like that? And then finding an electrician to be able to do all of that. So you got the cooking part, which I think gets answered by the lending program, right? And then the next step would be um, the actual infrastructure to the house. Do I got to upgrade, or do I have panel capacity and things like that? So two separate barriers, two separate things. I think one gets answered right away, or if they borrow a unit. The second one is a little bit more tricky, depending on what, everybody's house is different, every panel is different. And so you can't give a straightforward answer. You really got to talk to them in more detail and get more detail on what they're working with.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. So I took some time to kind of browse around on your website a few days ago, and you alluded to this just a little bit, Andre, but I kind of want to cue you up to talk about it. I noticed that you have quite a few different types of induction cookware and different types of units. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the different types of cooktops that people or that the website has available for folks to utilize, and some of the different types of cookware, just so people have an idea of what's available.
Right. So, before it goes on the website, we really put it through a robust test, or we break it apart and see how the electronics and stuff is built. So you'll see units there from $60 to $600, even some commercial units in the thousands. And so again, that I want to say thanks to our partners there, the manufacturers that have been willing to send in units and newer units. And so um, getting back to the units, you have residential, you got heavy residential, and you got commercial. You got some with knobs, you got some with sliders and buttons. And the feedback is different. I like the knobs because I've got bigger fingers, and so sometimes my fingers will touch two buttons at the same time. Um, and so you got units with knobs and sliders and buttons. At a 120-volt, you're going to max out is 1800 watts. So that's kind of a rule of thumb there. At 120 volts, single phase, 20 amps, it's 1800 watts you're going to max out. And then if you go to 208, single phase and staying that same, you're going to double it to get to 3600. Now there's a lot of stuff in between that. There's a 1500 watt, an 1800 watt, then there's a 2400 watt, a 3000 watt, a 34 and a 30. You know, everybody wants to be a little different from each other. Um, Different bells and whistles. Some have temperature, some have just power increments from like 1 to 10 or 1 to 100. And so some are round hobs, some have square hobs. Um, so little different styles and models that we have there. And again, I thank our partners. And so we're trying to evaluate as much as we can. We do purchase units ourselves to kind of evaluate, and some of them don't make it because we want the experience to be a decent experience, and when they're trying out one for the units. Um, and then get into the accessories, as you mentioned. Yeah, so we've got a pot, we got a standard 8-inch frying pan, and then we got usually a 4-quart saucepan. And that was kind of what we started. And as we went out and did demos, and people came in through the kitchen and stuff, a lot of cultural questions, right? Can it do this? Can it do that? I'm from so and so, and my grandma's recipe is this. And so as we started to broaden, we added different accessories. So we have Korean barbecue, we have hot pot there, we have comals in different styles of cast iron for like frying pita bread and fajitas and tortillas. And so we're continuing to expand that because that's the feedback we're getting. And so that's accessories that you can add to your standard pot or your standard pot or saucepan. And it's been great because we use them, like I said, we use them first here to make sure they work, and then we put them into the library once we kind of vet them. We try to get them because the biggest question after that was, well, what can I get in 100? How easy and how reasonable and stuff can I get them? And so we try to do our normal shopping like on Amazon or stuff like that, just to say, hey, this is where we got it. It's available and stuff like that. So we're excited about our accessories. We're looking to add more. We recently added some soup warmers. You can station soup there or nacho cheese and stuff like that. Um, and then some drop-in wells as well. So as the manufacturers in the induction market grows, we're looking to expand the accessory market as well.
That's awesome. I love that you all have sort of expanded the types of cookware to kind of address some of those, cultural concerns. And, it sounds to me like whatever your needs are, y'all have a unit or an accessory that
Yes.
that's it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I just want to get in really quickly. We all have different experiences with
Mm.
cooking. I've had my experiences with induction cooking. Many of them you can find on our social. Andre, I'd like to lean on you just a bit to talk a little bit about your personal experience with the induction cooktops. Can you briefly go through like what type of range you're used to using? And what was your experience transitioning to the induction cooktop?
So as I mentioned, it's holidays, and my wife likes to bake, and so if you ever melted chocolate, it's a headache, and it can cause some argument in the kitchen, and so we went from a gas range using a double boiler, and you had to just get it just right, and my wife usually used 3 different types of styles of chocolate and different colors. And so we would sit there like, okay, I'm ready, so I'm ready for the white chocolate and stuff like that. And once we converted, it's been so much nicer and so much easier. We can do so much more. We don't have to worry about scorching or burning the chocolate anymore with induction, because if you hold it between 100 and 110 degrees, you can literally hold it for 8 to 12 hours. And so the other thing is I'm a cooler kitchen. That's another thing, because I'm a big guy and I sweat, and so it's a lot cooler kitchen, which I love. Like now, I'm throwing I'll melt the chocolate for you. I won't dip, but I'll get all the chocolate ready for you. And with that, I can do the 3 different chocolates. Um, and if she needs additional one, I can bring in a fourth one and just reheat it real good. And so, with the hot pot, I could put two. I could put a white chocolate and a caramel chocolate in there and have both melted at the same time. And so I'm using a single pan with 2 chocolates at the same time. And so now, where we might have took 4 or 5 hours to get the Rice Krispies and the cookies and all the different stuff dipped, that's really cutting time. So the experience is a cooler kitchen. I've cut time. We've got a lot more done in a shorter time and stuff like that. Times of essence around the holidays, and so our relationships got better in the kitchen. And so it's everybody's all smiles now. Nobody's yelling and stuff like that. So it's really not changed. It's changed our lives for better. It's made it exciting and fun again. I think it's fun again. Like I said, I'm willing to go melt the chocolate now. Before I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go outside and do some yard work and skip that part. But now I'm willing to come back in and melt the chocolate for her. So it's really changed our lives.
I love that. You touched on a really good benefit, or a really big benefit rather, that I found is that with the induction cooktops, you have a lot more control over the
Yes.
temperature and, just control over the whole cooking experience. So I'm with you on that one, Andre. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. So if hypothetically speaking, if I am an interested potential participant, how would I get my cooktop to try out? What does the process look
So the first thing you're going to go to the website, which is SE Induction, and I'm sure you'll put the link there in my turn. And then, like I said, when you get there, there's a library, so you'll see the tool landing, and you'll see the induction, and you'll click on the induction icon. And basically, you're going to fill out a profile or an account. We're not checking your credit. We're not looking at your bill or any of that. You're just going to fill out some information, where you live, where the unit will be used. Um, and then from there, like I said, you'll build your cart. You'll build your induction cart. So you're going to grab a unit. You'll grab any type of accessory that you want. There's no limit on the accessories as long as it's still in inventory. So what that what I mean by that is that I think there's only 3 or 4 hot pots, and those get used a lot. So if they're all out, they'll not be available. But it doesn't matter, put you at the limit. It just means that it's probably booked and stuff. So you'll build your cart, and then you'll decide what day you want to receive it. And there's a drop down box there where you can pick up. As we mentioned earlier, we have about 5 sets in Tulare, sitting in Tulare. So if you're in this, in where you're at, Rochelle, there's 5 sets there for waiting for our customers, and you can pick up there from our Tulare site. But there's other options as well, because we know Tulare and Irwindale are not the most centered cities around our customers that we have in our territory. Um, and of course, right now, as I mentioned with holiday, we're getting a lot of extensions right now, and we know because of the holiday cooking and stuff like that. So it's simple as easy to go in there and request a week or another 2 weeks. And all I say is just communicate with us. We're not going to hold you to anything. It's just, hey, just communicate. We need another 2 weeks, or I need another extra day, or I can't make it today, and that's fine. All I ask is to communicate, and we try to make the process as simple as possible, through the checking out and building your bundle, what I call it. And so, um, but the key to the whole thing is just communicate. Once you get it all set up, if there's any type of problem with the website or anything like that, we have a general email that'll come to the email box, and we have a couple members that are leads on that, and so they look at it daily and weekly, to make sure we're answering the customers' questions.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have for you today, Andre. So I would like to thank everyone for watching our video and just remind everyone to just be sure to look out for additional resources that will be linked in the email that you receive and also below this video on our website. That's at www.sjvceo.com. So we have a lot of really good stuff about this program, and that'll kind of help you learn more about this program coming very soon. So be on the lookout for that. You can also engage with the SJV CEO. You can find us a number of other different places on Instagram, on Spotify, on LinkedIn, all at SJV CEO. So we try to keep it simple for you. I would like to give a very special thank you to Andre for being with us this morning. Thank you so much. I know it's kind of a crazy time of year, but as is par for the course for the holidays, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do you have any last minute thoughts or any afterthoughts you'd like to share with everyone before we close out?
No, one, I just again thank you for making time. I know we're all busy, and thank you for having us and having a chance to speak about the program. But we're excited about it, and we're continuing to grow. And any feedback, we're welcome to feedback. It's a two-way, communication here, and so we're still learning. We're not, as this technology starts to evolve, and the manufacturers are starting to come out with new and slick products. We hope to get them in the library, but any feedback, we appreciate it, and we're looking to have a few of your members participate. And so again, I just want to say thank you for giving us the time and then highlighting our program. Happy holidays, and I'll be melting some chocolate tonight.
That sounds like a plan. I wish I could try some. Thank you again and happy holidays to everyone, and we will see you in 2024.